Welcome to the Quantum Revenue Expansion Podcast. My name is Ursula, and I'm a sales expert, strategic business coach, and USA Today bestselling author. I love sharing strategies that show you exactly how to turn your annual revenue into your monthly revenue. If you're looking to take a quantum leap in your revenue or sales, your team, your productivity, your success, and your life, then you are meant to be here. My goal in every episode is to help you take your belief that it's possible to 2x or 10x your revenue while working way less to knowing that it is happening right now. Hey everybody, welcome back to Quantum Revenue Expansion, where we talk about turning your annual income into your monthly income. Super excited today because I have an extra special guest here with us. She is part of the CEO table. We're so lucky, and you'll see why in a moment. And she's this inspirational speaker, someone who brings joy to every situation. Beth Meigs is here with us today. Beth, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here, and I've been looking forward to this for like a week.
Me too. Beth and I are really giddy. We were having a pre-conversation. I was thinking, okay, we can't talk too much because there's going to be something really good we're going to say, and we want to get it recorded. So I'm excited to have Beth here. So Beth, I'll give a formal introduction in a moment. I just want to say to our listeners all over the world, thank you for hanging out with us today. I hear from people all the time who listen to the show. In fact, this shout out to one of my dearest college friends, Shauna, who listens to the show, and I didn't know that. So Shauna, if you're listening to this one, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us as well. And we're so excited about what's going on. Like it's already March. As we're recording this, it's March 2024. I feel like this is the fastest first quarter we've ever had. Lots of excitement around 2024 and just, all the possibilities that are available to each and every one of us. So I'm glad you're here with us today. Today is all about finding peace through adversity. And here's the thing. If you've been on the planet more than a year, right? Sometimes less, you've had adversity. You've had challenges in your life. Every single one of us has. They're just different. They show up in different ways. And Beth is one of those people who's had some incredible challenges and some incredible breakthroughs. And she's an incredible role model of how to make your way through adversity and how to find peace on the other side. So I'm going to tell you about Beth. She is a resilient fighter who turned her pain into purpose after a life-changing car accident in high school. From a small town in southeast Kansas, she inspires others with effective strategies to overcome life's toughest challenges. Let's let Beth's story of strength and perseverance show you the way to resilience and hope. So with that, Beth, again, I just want to welcome you here. I'm excited to hang out with you during our time together. I don't know I know there's great things that are going to come through today. I don't know what they are, but I could feel the energy of it this morning, even before I got on. So let's just start with your story and what brought you to this moment today of being an inspirational speaker and a business owner and just all the things you got going on.
Well, I am going to start out by saying I am just very, very blessed. At the age of 14, I had been singing and performing for over half my life since the age of 7, taking voice lessons because my mom saw my gifts and my talents. So did my voice teacher. I was known for my singing voice. I was very popular. Everyone wanted to be my friend, and life was easy. I had been in a recording studio in the spring of my 8th grade year that my voice teacher had arranged for me to do because she believed in me and she knew I was going places. Plans were moving full speed ahead for me to move to Nashville to pursue a career in country music as soon as I graduated high school. But then on August 26, 2000, 1 week into my freshman year of high school, my entire world was turned upside down. We were traveling down a rural 2-lane highway when all of a sudden we were struck from behind. This sent our vehicle into a tailspin, which then proceeded to barrel roll multiple times until we finally landed in the field on the opposite side of the highway. With every roll, my head was at the point of impact.
Ooh.
I had to be life flighted from the rural hospital near where I grew up to the nearest trauma center an hour and a half away by car, where my family learned that I had suffered a traumatic brain injury. The neurosurgeon and the medical team didn't give me much hope, less than a 25% survival rate. And he told my family that I would need to be placed in a drug-induced coma to allow my brain and my body the best chance of survival. I would remain in this coma for 3 weeks, touch and go in the beginning. Once I woke from my coma, I was reduced to that of an infant. I couldn't do anything for myself. Couldn't even sit up on the edge of the bed. I had to rely on someone to help me with everything. It would be 3 full months of hospitals and intensive rehab before I finally made it back home for good. And this was when I began to discover that the girl I once was had died in that car accident. And those dreams, they had died with me. It was 43 days before I could even speak a word because of the ventilator that had been and to help me breathe for 2.5 weeks. When I got back home, my friends' lives had gone on. They were still playing the sports we loved, going out on the weekends, working their part-time jobs. They didn't seem to have any time for me, nor did they seem to care if I was around. I dealt with judgment. I dealt with rejection because people would see something physically wrong with me, people who didn't know me before the accident or know of the accident, and they would decide that I wasn't worth their time. This hurt. This was devastating, all while I was trying to rediscover who I was as a person. I would come home from school multiple times a week for over 4 years and tell my parents that I should have died in that car accident. I wish I was dead and I want to kill myself. But it would be in these moments, sometimes when I was throwing myself down to my knees on the floor, screaming, crying out to God, asking Him why He did this to me. What did I do to deserve this? But that's when a voice would come over my heart, a voice that I knew was from my higher power, God, a voice that would bring me an overwhelming amount of comfort and peace, saying, I have a plan for you. You can't stop. You have to keep going. And I began to realize in those moments, God didn't do this to me. This was a circumstance of the world, one of life's circumstances that just happens. But He was right there by my side to pick me up and carry me through as long as I continued to turn to Him. So every night before I went to bed, I would go to bed with a thankful and grateful heart, thanking Him for my life and my blessings and asking Him to lead me and help me to make the right choices so that I could help those to be placed in my path. I knew in that moment that one day I was going to need to be for someone else exactly what I needed. So I couldn't stop. I had to keep fighting and had to keep moving forward because what I was going through, I wouldn't have wished on anyone. I also prayed for everyone in the world because of that. I knew other people were suffering in the same way that I was, and I didn't want that for anyone.
Beth, it's like what you went through as a teenager, like at a time in your life when, when we're most aware of what others are saying about us or thinking about us. And what's even what's the interesting too, the juxtaposition in the sense that, you have what most people don't have as a teenage story. Like you were very popular. You were on stage, you were singing, you were going to go to Nashville. Your parents were supportive. Like you kind of had this almost this fairy tale story that was unfolding before you. And then all of a sudden this accident happens and pulls you into this other world. And so, I cannot imagine how none of us can imagine like what that change would have been like during that time. You were, you're at the height of a lot of things, in this, as a high schooler, and then this happened. And then for 4 years, I heard you say this, for 4 years, you came home from school every day, just wondering why you were still on the planet. How did you get through it? Because this is an important message. Like, mental health is something we don't talk about right now in the world enough. I bring it up on the show. We're definitely going to have some information in the show notes, like if someone's feeling suicidal or anything like that, like, that to reach out for help, to call a suicide hotline. You felt like that for 4 years. And I'm sure for your parents, they were just like, well, how do we help Beth, right? Like, how do we keep her on the planet? So I want to know how did you stay on the planet? What did you say to yourself, or what did you hear from God or spirit that kept you going through those 4 years?
It was the voice. He had a plan for me. I had to learn how to believe in something bigger than myself.
How did you do that?
His voice on my heart that brought me the comfort and the peace in the moments when I was at my lowest and my darkest. If you attend a church and are a Christian, you've heard people say that God uses the broken. He may not be a voice on all of your hearts, but I stand here today because I was chosen to be a messenger. He has a plan for each and every one of you.
Yeah.
The challenges that you face are stepping stones to lead to your success and to lead to your finding your purpose. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't have any idea who, how, or when. Any of that. But I knew I couldn't stop because I knew that purpose and that plan was so much bigger than anything that I was currently facing, the struggles that I was currently going through. So I just had to keep going. I did my best to look at the positive. What you focus on grows. So despite all of the negative being thrown at me, that voice and knowing that he had a plan for me, that would be what kept me going. That would be what kept me fighting.
Yeah. Beautiful. So you just you heard a voice, you felt the presence, you knew that you were meant for something more. And you talk about a principle that I think spans, many religions, and just a universal principle that when tough things happen to us, the opportunity is for us to help others who've gone through that. And I think that's part of being on the planet Earth, right? I think we're brought to the planet Earth. We are challenged in many ways. And then we do have the opportunity to help others with very similar things that they're going through. And it's really up to us on whether we say yes or no. And you said yes in a major way. You said yes in a major way. And if we quantum leap to today, and I've said this to you before, I think it's very interesting that, you were meant to be on stage. You were on stage. You were on stage in a different way, as a teenager. I'm sure your singing as a teenager was very inspirational, and you were doing it to connect with people, still using your voice from stage to melodically, beautifully connect with your audiences and inspire them. So it's very interesting, this arc that you've been on, and I want people to see this. So tell us about the today. What are you doing today to use what happened to you to help other people?
Well, just continuing to keep going. Every day, I had to decide to wake up and be the best version of myself each and every day. Some days it's harder than others. I have a feeling, I know everyone struggles with that. But by me continuing to walk through the doors that are open to me with faith and trust in my purpose, my plan, my higher power, that has allowed me to attract exactly what I need, whether it's the people that I'm supposed to help or it's the people that are supposed to help me to get where I need to be. I've been attracting exactly what I need to help me to be able to fulfill my purpose.
Because today you're professionally an occupational therapist, right? Which you're helping people who are exactly in many ways where you were and inspiring them and supporting them. Like, it's one thing to say, I've been there. It's another thing to have been there and say, no, I was really there and I'm helping you physically, mentally, and emotionally. So I can imagine how delighted patients are when they get to work with Beth. They're like, oh my gosh, who is this angel that is actually understanding what I'm going through physically, mentally, and emotionally? And then at some point, there was this tug on your heart to speak on stages.
Right.
So tell us about that.
So, like you said, I have been sharing my story with patients for over 12 years. I'm working as an occupational therapist. That's where I began to see the power behind my story. Then in 2017, I came to a church that had a Celebrate Recovery. I didn't know much about Celebrate Recovery, but I knew that the anxiety and the depression that these people were dealing with, turning to worldly things to help them through, I knew I could help them by sharing my story. I started getting up on the stage at church, sharing my story, and I've been sharing my story for over 6 years from a stage. And every time I would share my testimony, I would have someone come up to me and tell me how much hope I gave them. One night, a woman came up to me and said, Beth, I wasn't going to come to church tonight, but something was telling me I needed to be here. I know now that that was God. I needed to hear your story because it brings me so much hope. Thank you. That was just the beginning. As I continue to be aligned with the people who are helping me to grow into my purpose and are helping me to figure things out, I've been attracting more and more opportunities just like this. My testimony has turned into a message, and I have so much clarity right now on everything that's happened last 23 and a half years in my life that has all led up to where I am right now.
Yeah. Congratulations on so many levels. And I also want to point out, like, Beth, that for our listeners, because this is Quantum Revenue Expansion, you are now landing paid speaking gigs, which is going to continue to expand. And look at your smile. I love seeing Beth smile because Beth is crushing it in business. Like, Beth is crushing it, and it's just going to keep like growing. Her business is going to keep growing. I want to put that out there because how do I say this about you, Beth? Like, I know when I started in the speaking world, and I've shared this story, like I had such a deep fear of public speaking. I was scared to get on stage. I had to work through so many things. And what I find about you is that you don't seem to have any fear. Tell us about that.
Well, I have learned what fear actually is. So if you're taking notes, definitely I'm going to invite you to write this one down. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. There's a 50-50 chance what you are afraid of could help you to make your dreams come true. You can't let fear hold you back. Sure, you may walk through a door and fail miserably, but I'm going to encourage you to start failing forward. Don't let the failure stop you. Learn from it and keep moving towards that dream because it was placed on your heart for a reason, and it wants you just as much as you want it.
Amen, sister. Amen. Amen. Yeah. I mean, you guys can hear this for our listeners all over the world. Like, I tell Beth all the time, I'm like, Beth, you're so inspiring. We love having Beth. We love having you at the CEO table. I just giggle because you guys can imagine, in our CEO community of CEOs who are dealing with a lot of challenges on the regular. Like there's, we have professional issues, we have personal issues, we have business issues. Everybody's got stuff and they're sharing their stuff. And then Beth will like sashay into the Zoom room and bring this bright light and this joy and like just be like encouraging everyone. And, I just love it because, you don't have any fear. You really model that in such a unique way. And I know you're speaking to college students. You're going to be speaking to college students all over the world, but you're just starting on this college tour now. You are, I know, going to be speaking to more, I see this, more women's leadership groups. I see you in front of corporate groups. Like I just see your speaking career expanding really quickly, and you're going to be sharing this. And that's one of the things you model, because let's face it, fear is one of the things that stops people. Like when we look at you, and you've been in the CEO table a while now, and when we see people stop from growing their business, or people out, just people anywhere, fear is often the thing, right? And you're right. I love the acronym of false evidence appearing real. It's not even real. So we actually allow like thought bubbles that aren't real, which are really just chemical reactions in our body. That's what emotions. So we allow chemical reactions in our body with made up thought forms to stop us. So thank you for being an example of being fearless, and you're just like, what's next? Here's my next thing. For those of you who have been hanging out with us for a while, we've been talking more about the CEO table, our group coaching program. And in the CEO table, Beth, I hope it's okay if I share this. I'm going to talk about needle movers. You know where I'm going with this. Yes. So every week at the beginning of the week, our CEO table members get to have the opportunity to post the 3 major things they're going to get done that week to move their business forward. And then every Friday, we get to celebrate either the needle movers or celebrate whatever you got done or whatever's awesome in your world. Without exception, unless Beth was traveling the world or had something major going on where she couldn't get to a computer, Beth, you've always posted your needle movers and your celebrations at the end of the week. And I will say, like, you have checked those. It was like, build my speaking career, build my speaker win sheet, get, find out about college speaking, close college speaking gigs, start my college speaking world tour. It's like you just kept putting these things in that you're going to knock out, and then they happened, and then we were celebrating them. So I just want to point that out to everyone. Like everyone can do this who's listening, right? At the beginning of the week, challenge yourself. What are the 3 needle movers that you're going to knock out? And then celebrate that at the end of the week. And I laughed this week because Beth posted 4, and I have a feeling Beth's going to check all 4 off. So Beth, do you want to share what it's like, maybe what it's been like to be in the CEO table, what it's been like to just publicly be sharing what you're working on and what you're checking off? What's that been like for you?
It's been amazing. I want to start out by saying your goals are 42% more likely to happen when you write them down. So write them down and check them off. I encourage that wholeheartedly.
Yes.
The CEO table has been amazing right from the very get-go. Of course, I've known you for years.
Yeah.
That 2-hour VIP session that I had with both you and Rebecca, that gave me such clarity. I had been racking my brain, spinning in circles, trying to figure things out for years on my own. But like I said, how I've been attracting the people into my life as I continue to step through the doors open to me, seeing the possibilities, I'm able to make things happen. So you guys coming back into my life, bringing me the clarity, showing me the way to make my dreams come true. That has been such a blessing. I am so thankful.
It's been a triple blessing in so many ways. And one of the things I keep hearing you say, and I know that I know our listeners are like, what does she mean by that? Like leaning into this, right? You talk about getting clear on your goals. I got clear on my goals, and then the right people keep showing up in my world. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think everybody wants that, Beth. Everyone's like, oh, I wish I could just write my goals down, and I wish the right people would just show up, and here you are living it. What do you think people need to know? Because you and I, we don't have special powers. You and I aren't different from anybody else, right? You probably have had more adversity than most people have, and here you are, like doing your thing and checking your. So any special tips or things that you do that, like, how do you know it's the right person? How do you know it's the right opportunity?
Awareness is key. The last few years in my life, I had been unaware of being surrounded by people that were holding me back, people that were toxic and unhealthy in my life. I wasn't able to bust through those breakthroughs when I was in that place.
Yeah.
So awareness is key. Looking at who you are surrounding yourself with. I continued to, despite me being in an unhealthy place for over 2 years, I continued to be aligned with people who did see my value and did encourage me and help lift me up during those hard times. And that is crucial. So find the right support, the people who see you, value and appreciate you, encourage you, and don't try to hold you back. That is number one. When you are feeling like you are in constant chaos and confusion, I want you to just sit down, take a minute, and reflect. What has caused that? Did it come from an external force? Is there a way that you can start setting boundaries to block those external forces from holding you back? That's exactly what I had to do.
Yeah.
But I continued to walk through the doors chasing my dreams because God's voice was always so much stronger than the voices that I would hear that told me that I would never be paid to share my story. I just checked that off. I can't listen to those lies.
Now that, Beth, when you said that, I remember you telling me that, gosh, was that like 6 months ago, that someone had actually said, we won't say who, it's okay, but someone had said, you'll never be paid to share your story. Now, that could have, like a lot of people, that would have stopped them in their tracks. They would have believed the nonsense. Something tells me that fired you up, though.
I haven't ever faced any challenge that I wasn't able to break through. So that just made me fight even harder.
Yeah.
And God's voice was always so much stronger than those external voices saying, no one will ever pay you to share your story. And it wasn't just once. It was multiple times for an extended period of time. But I couldn't let that stop me.
No. And thank goodness you didn't, because that river that has opened up for you is wide. Couple more questions, and then I know we're almost out of time. So, like, since you've been hanging out with us at the CEO table, what has already shifted or changed for you? Like, what are some of the top things that you look at and you're like, wow, like if I hadn't joined, maybe this wouldn't have changed or shifted, but what has shifted, changed, or expanded for you the last few months?
Just getting the guidance on the steps I need to take to make my dreams come true, to keep chasing my goals. That has been so valuable, which has in turn led to clarity. Like right after or right when I joined the CEO table, I had clarity on strategies that I developed recovering from my car accident that actually have continued to help me to stay strong and stay resilient and keep persevering the last 23 and a half plus years of my life. And I wouldn't have had that clarity had I not continued to surround myself with the people that are helping me to make my dreams and goals come true. You guys at the CEO table, I mean, every single one of the people in this group has such value that I have gained from.
Yeah.
And that is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a pleasure to see just how everybody supports each other. And sometimes it's just holding space. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just that group holding space. And by the way, people ask, it's not just women. We have some really amazing, humble dudes who hang out with us who are incredible at sharing space and supporting everyone as well. All right, I know we're almost out of time. I just want to wrap up with, before, I know you have a free gift, but before that, what's your best piece of advice for a CEO who might be considering coming and hanging out with us all at the CEO table?
Talk to Ursula, talk to Rebecca. They are amazing. They're going to help you to gain clarity. I want you to know that you have everything within you to make those dreams on your heart become a reality, but you can't let the fear hold you back. You have to keep fighting. Partnering with Ursula and Rebecca at the CEO table has given me so much clarity. It's just been amazing on how much they have helped me to figure out the best ways to keep moving forward to check off my goals.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks for sharing and thanks for encouraging people. And for everyone who's listening, you know, we might not be everybody's coaches. Maybe we are. Maybe you've been thinking about hanging out with us, and there's definitely an application in the show notes. You can fill it out. It's the 2X Intensive application. Send it in. We also have a contest going this month. We're giving away two VIP coaching packages for clients who've been wondering new people who've been wondering what it's like to work with us. So all that's in the show notes as well. Definitely fill it out. You get a gift just for filling it out, and we'd love to have a conversation with you there. Beth, you have a free gift for our listeners. So tell us about the free gift, and we'll have all the details on that in the show notes as well.
So you have been hearing me talk about the strategies that I had to develop in order to get me through all my challenges. I had no idea that I was even developing these strategies. It was just God's grace and mercy that has brought me the clarity today to see it so clearly. But the EI method, the link is going to be in the show notes. So I encourage you that if you are struggling with overwhelm, stress management, feel like you're going every which way, download my free strategy. It's a reset to help put things into perspective, just to help you to be able to reset and keep moving forward and chasing your dreams so that you can truly live the life you deserve.
Beautiful. Awesome. Definitely grab Beth's free offer. It's the EI method. It's in the show notes below. And Beth, for anyone who's looking to book you as a speaker, how can they find you? Where do they get information about your speaking topics?
You can go to elizabethinspires.com. You will see my speaker sheet with my different topics. I do workshops. I can speak to a group. I would just love for you to book a call and let's have a conversation to see how I can best help your audience to be able to succeed and learn how to persevere the same way that I have.
That sounds great. And we'll have information for you for you to directly book Beth in the show notes as well below. Beth Meigs, you're awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I loved every second of it. I'm sure our listeners are very inspired. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on. This has been amazing. Thank you for everything that you and Rebecca do to help all of us. I appreciate you both so much.
Back at you. Thanks for everything you bring to the CEO table and to our world. You're always inspiring me. And to our listeners all over the world, thanks for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you. If there's anything we can do for you, you can email us at contact@ursulainc.co. That's it for this week, everybody. Make it your most epic week yet. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to leave a review on iTunes so I know what you like and can create content that guides you to uplevel your business even more. If you want more strategic business tips, follow me on social media. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and you can visit my website at www.ursulainc.co. I love being on this journey with you and can't wait to connect with you on the next episode. In the meantime, make this your most epic month yet.